A message for Laurence Fox. Don't apologise. Don't ever apologise, and don't apologise for this. Right? Don't do it. Well, you see, Laurence Fox got himself into hot water again when he made some comments about a female journalist. There is absolutely no doubt that they were rude, and he shouldn't have said them, but they were not misogynistic, which is, of course, what a paper like The Guardian chose to call it. GB News has suspended the presenter Laurence Fox after he went on a misogynistic on-air rant about the political journalist Ava Evans. It was rude. It was personal. It wasn't misogynistic. And I'm going to compare it with something I was speaking about before. And I don't think anyone can accuse me of misandry. Well, I mean, they can do that, but it wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be accurate. It wouldn't be true. OK, let's carry on. Fox appeared on Dan Wootton to discuss comments made by Evans about men's mental health, before commenting at length on the journalist's appearance and why he would ignore her in a bar. Now, the way The Guardian put it, they didn't say what Evans actually said about men's mental health. But this is what they have reported. After her appearance, she said, "I was a little rash on my anti-Minister for Men comments." So I assumed that Fox was talking about mental health in men and that there's a Minister for Women, which I think is a bit silly anyway, but yeah, that's something else. And she must have said something disparaging about that Minister for Men. And then she says, "I do regret, and I'm actually very interested in a brief for a minister on young men's mental health. I had a friend whose son killed himself." She came in to her, how can I put this? She came into her flat and she found her son in a state of suspension. I have to be careful for YouTube purposes, I'm sorry. Can you imagine? She tried to get him down. He was quite dead by then. And that's obviously a mental health issue. And this woman is being flip about it. And all The Guardian can do is report her saying, "I was a little rash." But they make a big fuss about what Fox said about her. Well, he shouldn't have done it. It's not a good argument to make personal insults, but it's not misogynistic. I don't think Fox is misogynistic. I think he's just angry. In the segment, Fox called Evans a little woman. Well, as a matter of fact, and this is where I'm going to talk about how I've talked about certain men, and not all men, just some. And I was talking about Russell Brand, wasn't I? And I called him a nasty little man. Yeah? But The Guardian, well, I mean, they wouldn't pay attention to a worm like me anyway, but if anybody else in the public eye, if any woman referred to Russell Brand as a nasty little man, they wouldn't accuse that woman of misandry. They'd have said, yeah, well, she was picking on one particular person. And I have also said, oh, hang on. And then he said, "Show me a single self-respecting man that would like to climb into bed with that woman ever, who wasn't an incel." And again, I go back to my comments about Russell Brand. I said, I find him physically repulsive. Again, if somebody more in the public eye than me had said that, a woman, nobody would have accused her of being misandric. Do you know what? I don't know what that word is. Anyway, I'm not stopping now. You get the picture. So, well, accusing her of misandry. Right, that gets me out of that hole. So you see the difference in the way The Guardian is attacking him to the way they would just ignore it in a woman, and when this woman says something about I was a little rash, they're not pointing out that she was a lot more than a little rash, and she was dealing with an instance where young men are doing away with themselves. All right, so let's just get back. The ongoing row has opened a rift between Fox, who has doubled down on the comments. Yeah, again, I say, Laurence, don't do it. Well, you know, you might say you got a little personal, and that's about as far as you should go. Right. Oh, before I carry on, I'll tell you I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds, also Twitter and Gab, where I let you know when I've uploaded new videos. Please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe if you're on YouTube. Click the click the notification button, or you won't get notified. Well, that makes sense. All the links are in the description, including links to donation sites, which I am very grateful if you're going to use, but clicking the like button is also very helpful to the distribution, that's the word, of my channel. All right, so Evans, who posted the clip of the segment on X, formerly known as Twitter, after it aired, said the comments had made her feel physically sick. Well, I suggest, Evans, that maybe you are being a little thin-skinned. The fact that Laurence Fox doesn't want to sleep with you, well, if Laurence Fox said he wouldn't want to sleep with me, that would not make me physically sick. Right? Oh dear, I don't want to sleep with him. By the way, on Wednesday, she told Channel 5's Jeremy Vine, Jeremy Vine, yeah, that apex of intellectual discussion, Jeremy Vine show, that she was shocked that Fox's comments about her body rather than her work had been broadcast. Well, he was talking about her opinions as well, wasn't he? This is the sort of talk that you worry that men have about you when you're not in the room. Huh? I couldn't give a flying you-know-what about what men say about me when I'm not in the room. What is the matter with that woman? Does her whole personality have to be bolstered by the thought that when she leaves the room, all the men are just drooling and saying how marvellous she is? Huh? What is the matter with the woman? This is sort of when you're not in the room, said the political correspondent for the online news site Joe. I haven't even heard of Joe. She added, I'd much rather be judged or asked about my work than have people talking about my body. Right, so would I. But it happens, and when it does, you make a gracious and possibly very cutting response, and then you move on. And as a matter of fact, at this point, your work was saying that men's mental health didn't mean anything. At which point you became fair game for criticism. Fox and Wootton were discussing comments about men's mental health made by Evans during an appearance on BBC Politics Live on Monday. I wonder how, I didn't see it, and I wonder how the BBC handled that. The fact that, look, if the BBC did not push back on that, then they should be criticised for misandry, right? Got the word. During a discussion about whether there should be a Minister for Men, Evans said, I think it feeds into the culture war a little bit, this Minister for Men argument. Oh yeah, it doesn't mean anything. Mental illness is a crisis that's endemic throughout the country, not specific to men, and I think a lot of ministers bandy this about to, I'm sorry, make an enemy out of women. So she's already talking about misogyny before anybody's ever started, just because they're discussing a problem that is absolutely a problem of young men. That's misogynistic because it's not concentrating on women. Women don't get a mention. That's not what they were talking about. After her appearance, yeah, the little rash thing, Wootton raised her response with Fox saying, "I'm just going to provide a touch of balance from her because she did actually respond to this earlier today saying she regretted her comments, but she didn't apologise." And that's what you shouldn't do, Laurence Fox. Okay, well, Wootton added, "Oh yes, so there you go, and she's a very beautiful woman, Laurence, very beautiful." And Fox refused to apologise and appeared to be preparing for his suspension, warning his followers on social media that he had been cancelled already and may well be again. Yeah, well, good for you. Minutes later, a spokesperson for the right-wing channel, yeah, just make sure, this is The Guardian, remember, it's a right-wing channel. It's just not a mainstream channel, it's a right-wing channel. A spokesperson for the right-wing channel confirmed that one of their longest-serving presenters had been taken off air. They say, GB News is formally, "We will be apologising formally to Miss Evans today." All right, Wednesday morning, Wootton issued a second apology. Yeah, he has to hang on to his job. Hours later, Fox reposted the apology on X, adding the words, "Honesty is the best policy," and a photograph that appeared to show an exchange between the pair, although names were not included, suggesting that Wootton had found the exchange amusing. All right. And there's Wootton's apology. And then the Guardian could hardly sign off without saying, "It's rare for the right wing again, a GB News channel, which has encountered many controversies and multiple regulatory inquiries during its short existence, to issue an apology." Yeah, they're really bad people, you see. And Ofcom are looking into it. Oh, looking into a large number of complaints about Fox's comments. I'll believe that when I see it, and I'd like to know what people were actually making the complaint. GB News' viewing figures remain small but are steadily rising. The channel is competing with both Sky News and the BBC and The Guardian, which has a circulation that you might get on GB News at 2 o'clock in the morning for whatever they do that's really boring. Okay, no, The Guardian has... The only reason The Guardian is still afloat is the adverts it carries for the BBC jobs. Yep, that's the only place that the BBC, the only printed media that the BBC advertises in. That's a surprise, isn't it? Right. Well, that's it. And that's my plea. Again, Laurence Fox, don't apologise. Okay, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.